This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
A very good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us. We've already got over 60 people waiting before we've even started the show, watching already. And it's going to be a great show tonight, I'm sure, because I've entitled the name of the show. We've gone from pain to joy. We had the pain of Bournemouth. We had the pain of Liverpool. We had the pain of that first half against Tottenham. But boy, did we have the joy and the smiles on our faces at the end of that game. It was a massive 3 points that we got, beating Tottenham Hotspur at the Molineux. And I'll tell you what, so many times we've watched Wolves play Tottenham Hotspur at the Molineux since we've been in the Premier League. How many times have we absolutely battered them and lost the game? And we've played well, and we've won away from home, of course. We won at Wembley. We've won at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But we hadn't beaten them at Molineux since 2010. And, okay, we didn't have a shot at goal at all in the first half. But the second half, the maestro, the magician, the tactician, the genius that is Julian Lopetegui made some changes, matched them up, and we grew into the game, and it was the man, Adama Traore, that scored the goal. We've got a fantastic panel. I can tell you what, it's an amazing panel of fans and pundits that we've got joining us tonight. So just kick your heels up, put your heels on the chairs, turn the volume up, and sit back and listen, because it's a good one that we're going to have tonight. And I'm proud to bring on for our first panel. We're going to be bringing on my good buddy, Manny, who's currently in training for the London Marathon. And we've also announced the next Samosa Saturday. So before I bring on the next guest, Manny, just cover that off.
Yeah, so Samosa Saturday, April the 8th, Chelsea at home. And hopefully it's atmosphere like yesterday at the end of the game. So be there 11 o'clock till kickoff. Any donation, but even if you don't donate, you'll get something to eat. Hopefully raise a bit of money for Dementia UK. And then 2 weeks later, London Marathon, which, man, I did a 26-kilometre run before the game on Saturday.
Apparently your times are really good, aren't they?
Yeah, I think, since I've been using those e-scooters, it's been, I've been breaking all the records, but don't tell anyone that.
It's working really well. And also just returning pundit, representing Wolf-like, who power the show, and Acorn to Oates, who can provide you with fantastic life insurance and mortgages and a lot more. Chris, welcome back to the show, mate.
Hi, Dave. How you doing?
Mate, I've got a much bigger smile on my face than we did after Bournemouth and Liverpool. Before we get stuck in again, just to remind everyone, please support Wolf-like, part of the Acorn to Oak groups, the Bilston Company. They will literally help you with your important insurance, life insurance for your family, mortgages, and lots more. Tell us about that, Chris.
Yeah, so I think I probably want to highlight mortgages at the moment, because it's crazy out there. The mortgage deals are all over the place, and I think if people are thinking they might want to have a new deal in the next 3, 4, 5 months, now's the time to be looking, because they, don't go on too much about mortgages, but they are going up. And now's a really good time to be looking. But we're here. We're all local guys. I'll be the one who you speak to initially. If it's something that's business insurance, I'll pass you on to my colleagues that do that, like Claire and Jan and Sean. If it's pension related, that'll be me, or mortgages, it'll be me and Nick. So there's a great big team. We're all local. We all want to look after our local fellow Wolves fans. So just give us a call or email, and we'll help you any way we can.
Or fill in the form below to be entered into a Wolves prize draw.
Indeed.
And that comes through to you as well. Now, I know we've had a couple of people that have got in touch about the mortgages and stuff like that. So that's fantastic. And you do business insurance for businesses as well, don't you?
Yeah, we do everything. Cover all the bases.
Now, what we've got to do next is we've got to do a little bit of a drum roll, because we have a debutant. We have a debutant, a very special person and friend. And it's great to welcome onto the show for his debut, Come on, Chris.
Howl all you want, Kev. Howl all nice.
Mate, you know, Kevin, you know, you often see him on social media. He's a real lovely guy. You live really close to the Molyneux, and he's so enthusiastic about the Wolves. And before every game, you'll see him put his face out there on Twitter, giving the team a howl, and it's with the thing. And you know, sometimes you get a little bit of stick, mate. I've had it. We've had the abuse. Manny's had the abuse. Jason, you know, we've all had it from some of the haters, mate. And you know, you're a top lad. You're passionate about your Wolves, and I invited him to come on to Extra Time so you can have your say about things. How are you feeling, Kev?
I'm feeling good, actually. I'm feeling glad that I've had so much support over the last 24 to 48 hours after so much backlash, like to my request to go on the pitch, like.
No, well, that's important, mate. I mean, because at the end of the day, the one thing that we should all be, you know, we're going to, you know, as Wolves fans, as human beings, we're never going to agree with each other on everything. We're always going to have passionate opinions and stuff. But at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We've got two arms and two legs, and we're all individual. We're not robots. You know, you can disagree with everyone. You can have different views, but there's a way about putting it across, isn't it? And that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, we should be one pack, supporting each other at the end of the day. And if we were all the same, it would be a boring place, mate. It would be an absolute boring place.
And so also, as well, if people took time out to realise what damage they're doing to people's mental health, people won't be going out their houses.
Absolutely. And you've got, is it an illness or a disability that you have, Kev?
Yeah, well, I've got hydrocephalus. I suffer with fibromyalgia, but I've also got fetal valproate syndrome.
And that affects you day to day?
Yeah, basically. That affects my balance and coordination, like, but also affects my joints, like, and basically, my right hand is like only got, well, it used to originally have 5 fingers, but I had to remove my thumb because it wasn't functioning properly, and I had to move my second thumb and make it into a second finger into a thumb.
Absolutely. And so you've been through a lot of trauma in your life, mate. And anyway, you know, it's an absolute pleasure to invite you onto the show, and I'm glad you accepted. And we're going to sit back now, and we're going to talk about. I mean, you're getting loads of good things like here. Look, like Kev, follow you on Twitter, mate. Keep howling. You know, come on. You know, we'll welcome Kevin. You're getting lots of love and stuff like that, mate. And we've got a great community here on Always Wolves, so you're absolutely welcome. Let's get stuck into the show. Let's get stuck into the team. Manny, we messaged each other, didn't we, on Wednesday night and everything. Obviously, I was fortunate enough to be invited into the corporate, and I was trying to see where you were and everything. And we both watched the match from different angles. In the game for the first half, second half, you know, very disappointed. A lot of people were very unhappy, but like they've smashed United today, 7-0. And then we've gone 2 halves of footballs without scoring, without having a shot on target, because that was like the second half of Liverpool's, first half yesterday, and then the second half yesterday. I mean, what are the points that you'd like to make about those games?
First of all, we're not going to play champagne football. Let's be honest, because if we were playing champagne football and creating chance after chance, we'd probably be scoring goals, and we would definitely not be near the bottom of the league. So this time of the year, you know, with 12 games to go, 13 games to go, it's all about scrapping and fighting and playing for the pride of the club and your, you know, future in the Premier League. And it's all about staying in games. So even on Wednesday, we weren't playing well, but up until 70 odd minutes, you know, we were still in the game. They won, and they won fairly and won easily in the end. But yesterday was the same. We got to half time, we had a bit of luck, we rode our luck, but how many times have other teams had luck, you know, or against us, or vice versa? So it swings and roundabouts. We were still in the game, very much in the game. And one thing Lopetegui does everybody knows he does not wait, does he? Even if he gets it wrong, he does not wait. He makes his changes early. He makes an impact early. And the impact worked, didn't it? I'm pretty sure it was like, I thought, has he been on the phone to Nuno? Because he literally, I thought he must have been on the phone to Nuno to say, how did you get to this club into 7th place? Well, go 3 at the back, play your leader at the back, bring Matinho on with Neves, play Traore and Raul up front, and you haven't got Jota, but ask Cunha to do the Jota role and get Johnny and Smedo bombing down the wings. And guess what? It was actually a throwback to those European days. That second half, 8 attempts, 5 on target, regularly hitting the target. Neves shooting from distance, Matinho controlling the midfield, Smedo getting in the box, nearly scoring, Johnny bombing down the wing, Raul going back 3 years, and Traore scored. So it was pretty much a throwback, and you have to be brave enough to do that, because sometimes you can get stuck with, I want to play 4 at the back and that's it. But you've got to be open to changing things as well and thinking, oh, how can I get the best out of some, or let's just match up Spurs. So Spurs were playing that system, and I think he just went, right, I'm going to match them up and almost do what they were doing to us in the first half. And it was, tactical genius. He took off possibly our best player, Lamina.
I must admit, when the changes were made at half time, mate, and I saw it and I was like, okay, so he took Lamina off, who was having a really good game because he was man marking Kane. Yeah. And I was thinking that's a roll of the dice going to the 5, but God, genius.
No, it was genius, complete genius. Lamina, if you saw the first half, he was literally playing alongside.
He was like playing in the back 3, wasn't he? Almost.
He was alongside Dawson and Kilman. So it was almost like, well, it's almost a waste of a midfielder. He might as well have a centre half there. So he put 3 defenders rather than a midfielder there, and Matinho was majestic. Raul, unbelievable. 2 block shots, 1 disallowed goal that slipped through for Cunha. The header, everything he did was just sensational yesterday. It was a top second half performance, and it sort of lit up Molineux, and everybody was happy going home. Because at half time, like you said, we hadn't had a shot. And you're thinking, but we're still in the game, so it's still.
That was the positive that I took from the half time. Yeah. The fact that we'd been so poor, and I kind of said at half time, I think I put a tweet out and I put the stats. Surely we've got to be better second half, and this manager is not afraid to make a decision. Chris, onto you. I mean, obviously, Manish talked about the game management from Lopetegui and the things. I'm sure you're going to probably agree with that. And we're going to have probably a lot of the pundits that are going to come on and talk about that today. What points would you like to make?
Well, I think everything Manny said, completely agree. I think the changes, it was a tactical masterclass is probably an overused expression, but it really was. I mean, when he took Lamina off, he's like, what's he doing? He's the best player on the pitch, but look what happened. I mean, it was a throwback, and I mean the midfield worked so much better. Matinho was just controlled everything. He was calm, and his game management towards the end of the game when we were winning was fantastic. Not rushing to take corners, which maybe we'd have thrown the ball in and hoped to get another one. No, he just wasted a bit of time in the corner, and that's what you want. And after the game, Julian said one of the most important things was clean sheet, and it really was. Because without clean sheets, we need to get points on the board. We need another 12 points or so to be pretty much safe. And to get a clean sheet against Kane, Son, and Kulusevski, that's a damn good result because they're good players. Thought when Jimenez came on, I was disappointed for Costa, but Jimenez made such a difference. He was absolutely brilliant. And then, he's thrown himself into challenges, big effort, running around all over the place. And the stoppages in the first half, there were so many stoppages, weren't there? No other team got any momentum together. We rode our luck a little bit. They hit the bar twice, I think. But when they got Matinho was like the Rolls Royce, and Jimenez was like the Ferrari. And when we got when we got that shot that got blocked, I think it was Jimenez's shot that got blocked, saved, and Traore put it in. The place exploded, didn't it? My son.
It felt good. And you know the the thing that I thought was really good about the Traore goal, it was that he didn't lash at the ball. He didn't lash at it. He didn't like try and and it just hit the top of the south bank. He literally did really well to keep it down, actually, because it was bouncing up to keep it down.
To be fair, it was like Traore. If you give him time, it ends up in Rose Ed. He had no time. No, it's on it. I mean, that's the proof,
right,
isn't it? Let's be honest. And he had no time, and it was extinct. And he he scored a goal at Fulham where he lashed it into the top corner. He scored one in the cup. It didn't even when he smashed it into. He's done those type of shots where they either go into the stand or they'll just be absolutely sensational. So it was a great finish. You got to give it to him. And
it's great technique.
Yeah,
great technique, and I mean the place went crazy, and the Spurs fans, they weren't that happy after that winning, were they?
They were in a meltdown. How much
did Kane moan? Oh my god! I couldn't believe how much moaning Kane was doing
and falling over again, which is why it wiles the Wolves fans up. They were singing about him very, very politely. I think it was Tim Spears that tweeted. He'd been following, obviously covering Tottenham for a while, and the Wolves fans really don't like him. But like talking about Tim Spears, because obviously we all know he's a big, massive Wolves fan, and he's covering Tottenham, and it must have been like for him covering that when he went, "Oh no, Wolves have scored" on his tweet or something like that. We're like, we all know the truth. Kev, on to you, mate. What points would you like to make about that game, or the Wednesday night game, or both?
Well, basically, Wednesday night was like as if like the players had just given up, basically, and like it was just like they didn't want to turn up. But like sat down on against Tottenham, it was like as if like Lopetegui had says to them, "You're playing for Wolves, not for anybody else. You're playing for the fans." Like, and like it was like. When that Traore goal went in, when I was in my flat, like, and I was hearing the crowd, and I thought, oh, see away fans cheering. But I soon realised when they announced it on the channel, it was Traore that scored, like, and I realised then it was Wolves.
It was such a great time to score as well, the 82nd minute. And Kev did, the one thing that I thought Wolves did well as well afterwards was, and this is to Manny and Chris as well, how they managed the game after the goal as well.
Yeah.
I
Because
mean, I saw that Dawson's the linchpin now, that defence. Keeps them very tight.
He's a proper leader.
What? I'm talking about Dawson. We talked in all our podcasts this season, and we've talked about our lack of leaders. We've really struggled this season where sort of, Bruno Lage, when he was in charge, we had a lot of kids in the side, and sort of Ruben Neves was carrying everybody, and there's a lot of burden on Ruben Neves' shoulders because he's trying to captain the side, and then he's trying to be the player, the enforcer, the one who carries us forward. And the signing of Dawson for Neves, I think, is just incredible because it's like he don't have to look behind now. Neves doesn't. Because he's got this huge figure of a man. He's a beast of a leader. He literally cajoles and puts people in place, and he can defend on top of that. His positional sense, he's rarely out of position, and I think I put a tweet out, is our best bargain since Steve Ball. And the reason I put that is, yes, we've had Moutinho for 5 million and we signed really good players. Remember, we were bottom of the table. So we're bottom of the table. We're going nowhere. We're potentially going to lose our Premier League status. And then bang, we buy a player of his stature. What the hell are West Ham doing? Thinking of selling someone like him at that stage. But thank you very much, West Ham, because he really, honestly, I think he's like the Lopetegui Dawson. Both of them coming at the same time. Huge for us, absolutely huge, and he just marshaled everything so well, and the management, the spine of the team. If you looked at Dawson, Moutinho, Neves, and then your Raul. It was just so solid, and they saw the game out in the end fairly comfortably. And to be fair, we could have scored more than the one.
Well, no,
Abby Jarvis makes a point there on that. The block was to put. It was only a slight deflection. But he got foot, and it just uplifted it to the onto the bar.
Yeah, well, that's all right goal. It just reminded me of a Ferrari, how smooth and how fast it went in.
It was like a bullet. It literally. I actually think they took some of the oil off Traore and put it on the underside of that bar.
They always look, those type of goals always look brilliant, don't they? When they smash the bar and go in, it's just a classic way of scoring, isn't it? And to be fair, let's be honest, the South Bank end especially has been devoid of any sort of goal action. Very few goals. You were talking single digits in the whole calendar year has gone into the South Bank end. And so to score one late on to win a big match, almost like a bit of a must win, because after losing and drawing, you want to get back on the, especially losing the Bournemouth game, which was a huge loss. 10.6 games, lifted ourselves up, from bottom to 13th. It's a huge change, 17 points in 10 games. If he'd been here from the start, we would have been on 44. That would have put us fifth. If he carries on that trajectory of points. So, huge effect, huge impact, huge signings.
I've got to give special mention to Raul, because he probably played his best game for a long time. Raul,
sensational.
Absolutely, he was. He was hungry. I put a tweet out earlier. I captured a bit of video, which I was watching back. He tackled a slide tackle, to stop a cross from Spurs, literally 2 yards from our own touchline to block. That's not a player that's not committed to this club. That's not fighting for the shirt.
Yeah.
So the goals will come, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, they will. Yeah. He'll put himself around. He'll keep putting himself around. He'll keep working hard. We worked so hard, and we went through all the way. First half, we weren't that great, but the second half, we outworked them. We outplayed them, and Jimenez was for me, the man of the match. Is he worked so hard, and his challenges. Even when he came on in the first half, he was throwing himself around. He's fantastic. Making slide challenges. You don't get that from a centre forward very often.
It's strange how fate works, really, because we started with Costa, and we struggled. You could tell we were struggling to retain the ball. There wasn't any link-up play. There was not, it was chalk and cheese, wasn't it? And then he gets an injury, and no one wishes an injury on anybody. But that was a huge turning point. That injury was actually, the turning point, because he had to throw Raul on, and then he changed the system, and he gave us a focal point. The three players up top, second half, it was like we just completely changed it around, didn't we? And they were totally effective from being completely ineffective. So, so much credit to Lopetegui for not waiting. He could have easily said, well, it's only 0-0. Let's carry on. 75 minutes, 80 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes. Done that. Yeah, and then maybe get a point. But he said, no, we're not even creating. So we're going to start creating. We're going to start shooting. Neves had 3 shots, didn't he, from distance in about 5 minutes. And that was intention. You could tell was like...
It's kind of raised the rest. The Neves, which, how he was playing and having the shots, and they were good shots. The keeper made one great save. There's another one that was like a banana that spun round. Another one that it really lifted the rest of the team, and all of a sudden you could see the Tottenham players starting to panic, and where they were composed and in so control, and then the Wolves players were doing to Tottenham. Like what we did to Liverpool at the start of the match at Molineux. We were closing down in packs, and they were losing the ball and making mistakes. We were winning it off them, and all of a sudden the momentum shifted. And obviously that momentum shift. And it goes to show, when you're positive like that, you make your own luck. Yes, we were lucky in some respects. We got away with one. Son had a good shot. I think it would have been offside anyway. There's a couple of chances. They hit the bar twice. How many times have we seen that happen for us when it's not gone?
Yeah.
And how many times have we seen a shot that's hit the post and come out? Ours went in, theirs didn't. Small margins, but we were due a bit of luck. And we've played Tottenham so many times at Molineux and not had the rub of the green. It was our turn, and it felt really, really good. And as you say, 17 points from 10. We had a blip against Bournemouth. That was a poor result. You put the Liverpool result into context today, 7-0 United, and we've ground out a result against Tottenham yesterday, and and it does take a little bit of the pressure off the next game, Newcastle away. They've got back to winning ways again, and then is it Leeds?
Yeah, Leeds at home.
And when we did the last in-person podcast, we basically, all three, me, you and Jason, we all went for about 10 points, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. And to be fair, if he matches what he's done over the last 6 games, over the next 6 games, we're on 37, virtually, getting very close to safety. And that's with losing games as well. So I still think there'll be blips because he's still a new coach, still new players. There'll still be hairy moments for us, but you can see that we're in every game. I just think we're in every game, even the ones that we're not competing or maybe not having shots in, we're still staying in with a chance of winning, or getting something out of the game. And that's what Lopetegui's bought. He's got everybody singing off the same hymn sheet, hasn't he? And the other thing I have to say is he's got options. What Large didn't have was no options. He had the Cundalls and Campbells, and he had young kids on the bench. Large has got experience. He's bringing on Nuno's side. He's bringing Johnny in. He's bringing Matinho in. He's bringing Raul, bringing Adama on. These are huge players. Collins is suddenly on the bench. He
did well when he come on.
He can afford to take Lamina off and still not suffer. He can afford to take. So definitely, he's made sure he's got the players in. The bench looks so effective.
It'll be strong. It'll be stronger in the summer, definitely.
Hopefully, it all depends on obviously, if players come and go, don't they? So, but I just don't think Lopetegui's going to hang about just to go through the motions at Wolves. He'll demand the players.
He'll want to take us forward. I think we all know this year it's all about stabilising the ship, staying up, getting to safety. We don't want to be going into the last match of the season against Arsenal.
We got rid of Alada and we in Bruno Lage, and we bought in a bloody Ferrari with with Julian Lopetegui. I think he's a class above, isn't he?
It's a massive upgrade, absolutely massive upgrade without any shadow of the doubt. God, I'm just going to let you know, guys, we've got 224 people watching the show live around the world at the moment.
That's for Kev. That is, they're all cheering on Kev. Where is he there?
Let us know in the chat whereabouts in the world that you're watching from as well. We'll put some of those onto the screen as well. And everyone's making some fantastic points. But Chris, we're going to come on to the man of the match performance rating highlight of the day. You've already indicated that your vote for man of the match is going to Raul. Do you want to tell us why?
100%. It was the effort he put in. The effort he put in. He changed the mentality. He changed the momentum of the game as soon as he came on, throwing himself into challenges, making runs. I just thought he was back towards his best, and if he can do that consistently, he can score 5-6 goals before the end of the season. I've got no doubt at all. Him and Neves and Traore, if they can play well together like that they have done, then we're going to be absolutely fine, and he's going to nod a few goals in, I'm sure. I'd say performance rating. Well, let's say 7.5 out of 10, because I think the first half wasn't the best, but we were great in the second half. So 7.5 out of 10 performance rating. Moment of the day. I'm going to be very personal and say it was just when we scored, me and my son were jumping up and down, and he's 12 and he's nearly as tall as me. So that was quite good. He'll be bigger than me soon. So. But that was a fantastic moment. So yeah.
Absolutely. We've got a load of people. We've even got Bondi Beach in Australia. And we've got a guy from Canada. We're all over. And Sarah Meekop says she's watching from Bedfordshire, looking forward to work in the morning. Her boss is a Spurs fan. That will be nice. Kev, on to you. Your moment of the day, highlight of the day, your man of the match and your performance rating, mate.
My moment of the day was Traore scoring that goal, which lifted the whole of the round stadium. And also, my man of the match is Raul, because he's done a lot since his injury to get back to the way he is. And that Julian Lopetegui has helped him a lot, especially with the fitness coaches. And I think he's getting back to what his old self like.
I think you're absolutely right with that, mate. In terms of the fitness coach, they brought in 2 fitness coaches, and that's certainly, I thought Costa looked pretty fit as well when he was running around. I mean, it's such a shame. I mean, it might be the last that we've seen of Costa. We don't know yet. Yeah. I mean, it's not the record that he wanted, having more red cards than goals in a gold shirt, but that's it. Anything else to add on that, Kev?
A 7 out of 10 performance, basically.
A 7 out of 10. You make some good points. So that's another vote there for Raul.
You know what? Basically, they've stolen my thunder. Both of these geezers have. Because the thing is, Raul has had stick from a lot of people that he's past it. He's no good. He can't score anymore. He's not committed. He don't want to be there. And literally, nobody's got a clue, have they? They're just making things up. No one's got a clue. You're not in his head. And people are just coming up with and then suddenly you're just seeing with a bit of fitness, a bit of love, a bit of some manager that believes in him, throws him on there, the crowd singing his name, and suddenly Raul is looking like his old self again. So get behind the lad, man. Get behind the lad. He's I think in our striking department, he's still our most likely route to goal. He's our most likely scorer. And even though he hasn't scored, he still is our most likely, and he showed that in that second half. So hopefully he carries that on. But I want to see support for him, not alone. I don't want him alone like he was at Liverpool. Cunha around him, Traore around him.
Cunha, and it seems to work, doesn't it? I think Cunha is definitely a number 10, not a number 9.
Somebody put on the air saying, what formation against Newcastle? I don't care about formations. It's about scoring goals. I don't care if it's 5 at the back. I don't care. 4-3-3 hasn't scored us any goals, has it? I hate 3 midfielders. Personally, I hate 3 midfielders. I want an extra and attacker. And when Martinho and Neves are the only 2 midfield, we got an extra attacker. So you got that Raul. It was like the Raul Jota Traore of old day. It reminded me of them 3 with Cunha, there. So give him some support. Don't play him on his own. And Cunha is the man to support him. Traore supplying them. And I think we'll be okay. So definitely performance rating. He's my man of the match by far. He was just sensational. Took it to Spurs. Performance. At this stage it's about 7.5 because at this stage of the season it's just about getting over the line. It's not about these wonderful, amazing. It's about just getting over the line, grinding the points out, 3 points of the board, pulling away. So in that respect, it's actually a really positive performance after that first half. Moment of the day. I don't know. It's that goal was tremendous. I
thought you might go with Javen, bringing out the.
Javen, he does the mascots, and I did film. He goes, and it's quite proud to see your son down there. It's kind of thing that us as fans, when we back in our day, there was no such thing, was there, to try and be associated with the club or work for the club. And he loves his job and he loves them, going into school. So it's great just to see him enjoying, imagine working at the club that you love. So he loves it. So the moment, this isn't a good moment. It's a bad moment. It was the injury to Diego. That was the moment of the game, to be honest. I just think that changed it. That forced him a little bit, and then he changed it second half.
That's quite ironic, isn't it? Because the Fulham game, the injury to Cunha, that break, changed that game. Almost like flipped end. Although we don't wish Costa any.
Oh no.
No.
But I agree with you, Dave. I think that probably will be the end if it is a serious injury. Costa was not a planned signing. Remember, it was because we bought the striker who gets injured after half an hour, and then we've looked around, and this guy's a free, and we just took a gamble. He's had 14 games, hasn't scored. To be honest, hasn't looked like scoring. Let's be honest, but he's done a good job at Southampton away, especially. He did a brilliant job there, hauled us back into it. So he's done as best as he probably could at his age and his form. It was a temporary solution, and all the best to him if it is his last game, and hopefully he gets it. And
we do wish that. I mean, and definitely. Just a quick one before we move on to the wheel. Chris Humphreys has asked your opinions. I'll just put it up on the screen if I can find it again in a second. He was up. Anyway, he basically asked your opinions on Nunez.
Poor Nunez, yeah. I was actually going to mention that if there was a down point, it was the amount of time he did give the ball away. I thought he seemed to struggle giving. But I have to say, he has been played out of position a lot. So he's being asked to do a job, which he is
on the
doing.
left.
And we also forget sometimes that he also is 23. And he's also played less than 100 professional games, and that he also is in a new country. So there's lots of factors again, and the fees, they don't decide them. But at the moment, we've got cover, haven't we? We've got Gomez, we've got Lamina, we've got Neves, we've got Martinez. We've got lots of cover now, so we've got options to take him out the firing line. So he has struggled. I
Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree.
Go on, Kev.
I'm going to say with that Nunez, just give him time. At the end of the day, as long as we're winning games, just give the players the confidence they need. That's all we need to do from the stands, rather than berating every missed opportunity with passes or shots. Say to the players, "Come on, we know you can do it."
I understand what Chris has said there. He is, and like I said, at the moment you can take him out the firing line, and that might do him good. He may go at the end of the season, if he's got this deal with Liverpool or whatever. And
I don't think Liverpool would buy him at the moment,
no,
mate.
But he might not, but he might be a superstar there. Players change, don't they? It's just the mentality of some people. So let's see. But I'm not too worried. If he did go, I wouldn't be too worried personally. I think we've got some very good players in that middle of the park. So, and I'm pretty sure we'll strengthen again depending on who we lose. So,
yeah, absolutely, mate. Well, we're going to. Can you all see the wheel now?
Not yet, Dave.
Not yet.
There you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you can't see anything.
It's all gone quiet over there.
You're frozen.
You're frozen. He gets frozen. He does.
Unless really, really, really.
It's really cold in his house. We've had this before where we've lost him and he's just disappeared. Then he's popped up again.
He comes back in the West Brom top.
Well, that's right. The real Dave turns up then. Yeah,
turns up indeed.
See, everybody's happy now. Dave's froze. They can have a bit of respite. I don't know what question he was going to bloody ask.
Oh God, not the aliens one again. I hope.
It's not me this time. Me and Dave had a few disagreements and ding dongs in the past. He's gone. He will be back. He'll come back.
Here he comes.
There we go.
Here he comes.
He always freezes every bloody time. And
he hasn't got an Albion top on.
Kev said he's gone to get changed into his Albion top.
Oh, Kev, I love it, man. Yeah, no. I got pretty froze then, but if ever it happens, the most senior person left on the screen who's the most experienced in one of the podcasts and what have you, just take over.
Yeah, basically we did. We said everybody's got some respite from Dave, and everyone was smiling and really happy. And no.
Manny did a great job.
Come on, mate.
He does. He always does, mate. Anyway, we're going to get onto the wheel now. The wheel. Can you see that on the screen?
Yeah.
On,
so, Kev, this is basically a random question. There's a few. The green are the Wolves questions, and then there's other questions. So we're going to see what comes up. If there's one that's come up recently, I'll spin it again. But we're going to go with the wheel now. So here we go. It's spinning.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
This one is, we're going to go with Chris first on this. Tell us about your greatest sporting moment.
Do you mean mine or
Your own personal.
my own
Yeah,
personal?
your own personal. And in the chat, you can join in on this as well.
Okay, right. So you don't know this about me, Dave, but I used to be able to run fast when I was young.
I was sprinter.
Yeah, and I was Staffordshire county champion at 200 meters a couple of times.
There you
Wow.
go. What was your time, Chris?
I did 22.6 for
Bloody
200.
hell.
That is
It's
fast.
probably faster than half our team. Probably
And about
more.
10.8 for 100.
Brilliant.
That's 10.8 for 100 meters.
Yeah.
That is really fast.
Well, I used to train with some guys who were faster than me at Wolverhampton and Bilston.
That was one of the classic athletic clubs, wasn't it?
Oh, brilliant! They had some. Some. There's a guy called Dave Nelson who I trained with who won hurdles bronze medal in the Commonwealth Games. And
I remember that name. Yeah. I used to watch that athlete.
Andy Tulloch, he was a great hurdler. But there was some younger lads, younger than me, who were absolute superstars, and they were like some of the best in the country.
Kathy Cook.
Kathy Cook and Gary Cook, down there.
Kathy Cook.
But yeah, that I'm going to say that when I was 15.
Oh, mate, I think that's a pretty decent one to say. Paul Harris in the chat's gone British judo champion 1977.
Bloody hell.
Bloody hell, mate.
I'm going to go to away games with you then, Paul.
Yeah, we'll go with Paul.
Yeah.
He'll look after us. He will. Godfrey Flavel said he got a trial with Wolves when he was 15.
Wow,
brilliant.
Fantastic.
And everything. Manny, let's go on to you.
Oh, man, I played football.
No, that's not beating me at tennis.
Yeah, I know. I haven't done that, so that's to come. I would say, I played under 16 football for a team called Coseley Rovers. And back then, 1989, 90, I don't think I was probably the first ever Asian player to play for them. They're only junior side, and we played in a tournament called the Canary Cup down in Great Yarmouth. And we played the quarterfinal of our game at Carrow Road. And a little young academy player was like presenting us with like our medals, someone called Raul Fox, if you remember.
He was a good player.
So someone finished third in the egg and spoon race. I actually finished second once, so I beat that. But so that was.
Egg and spoon. Just give it to Chris. No one to get near him.
I know.
I'd drop the bloody egg though.
So I'd say that was quite a good sporting moment. I used to play a lot of sport. I used to play hockey for Wolverhampton as well. So I played hockey for they had a lot of teams. Hockey. Played a bit of golf, but that sporting moment, playing an international tournament.
Anything you can't do, mate. You.
Well, and now I run. I run now, Chris.
You are quite sporty, actually. You're very, very fit. Before we get on to Chris, to Kev, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I was England ranked table tennis player for England, obviously. So I was pretty good at the old table tennis, and brilliant. I played county and won a few tournaments and stuff, and so that was I do like the old table tennis. Kev, let's get on to you, mate.
Well, I was part my favourite moment because I was in the Special Olympics. I was actually a table tennis player.
No way!
There's a match, Kev versus Dave.
We're gonna have a game, mate.
We could do. But I was in national games, and I represented the West Midlands. Wow. And I won a gold in the men's doubles in the second division.
Bloody hell. Dave, we got an Olympic sprinter and now we got a gold medalist.
I know.
I mean, I actually won a gold, silver and a bronze in different areas,
Well done, Kev.
That's brilliant, Kev.
Well done.
That's a Mike, Kev. Well done, pal. That's amazing. Michael Chambers, not a sporting accomplishment, but he's got a piece of the Berlin Wall.
He's already off himself. Yeah.
I love it. I do. Tom Robertson, he had a kickabout with David Beckham when he visited the troops in Afghanistan.
Oh,
That's fantastic.
Cool.
I love when we do these questions because we get people joining in the chat as well, which it's a great community. We've got over 200 people watching live as well. And if you do want to get involved in the chat and leave your comments, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and you can join in. And we're literally only 64 subscribers away from 31,000, and there's 200 watching. So I'm sure you can edge us closer to that. Mate, Kevin, that's really impressive, mate. Have you enjoyed your debut, mate?
Yes, I have. It's been eye-opening.
Mate, you've been a credit, and I've just got to say, in life, people are going to disagree and agree. There's more people that back you and love what you do. There's no rules to supporting Wolves. There's no rules. You can support Wolves however you bloody want to, and nobody's got a right to say anything to anybody. So keep your chin up, keep howling, keep sounding your bugle. You got more fans out there than haters, and we'll drown them out. So
absolutely. And we need to finish this part of the segment, don't we, with a howl? We're going to count us in. Oh. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
He's frozen now, I think.
I'll tell you what, that's brilliant. Well done, Kev. Well done. Keep on howling, son, and thanks for coming on tonight. Absolutely brilliant, guys. Thanks ever so much, Manny. Just remind everyone about Smoker Saturday quickly. And
April the 8th, 11 o'clock. We'll set up, have a samosa, enjoy the match, and if you want to donate, I know you guys will. You're just incredible. I had somebody actually just last week from London. He's a Wolves fan. I don't even know him. Never met him. 500 quid straight up. Right? Unbelievable. The support I get, I just cannot ever thank these people. And so can you do one without peas? I'll pick him out for you, Chris. He wants a samosa without peas, so no problem. So come and enjoy it. It's a community event. It's a chance for fans to get together and mingle and sort of get to know each other, especially people off social media. It can be a bit of a cesspit sometimes, and when you meet people in actual person, they're actually not too bad. So come and say hello, and hopefully we can raise a few pounds for a really, really important cause.
No, absolutely, mate. And I'll be there as always, helping with the amazing team. And look out for the Just Giving commercial that's
tomorrow,
going out.
Airing tomorrow. Yeah.
Chris, finally from you, mate. Just again remind everyone, local company, about your mortgages. Get in touch.
Yeah, get in touch with us. Link in the description, as they say. Give us an email or just click the link. I'll be in touch. We can help you with all your financial needs, mortgages, pensions, investments, all business insurances. Any guys who've got businesses, we can help you all out with mate rates. So we're here for you. Help all the local guys out.
And if you forget to get the link, just message myself on Twitter or Always Wolves on Facebook, Instagram, or any of those, and I will direct you. Because I had someone that WhatsApped me, didn't they, about mortgage, and I managed to connect you to about that as well. So local company. Guys, thanks very much. Been a brilliant first half of the show, 45 minutes, absolutely brilliant. Kev, hope you'll come back on again.
I will do.
God bless you. God bless you all.
Kev.
God bless you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Okay. Cheers, Dave.
So that's Kev, Manny, and Chris. Where are we? There we go. From Wolf Life. Andrew Knight, thank you very much. I'll have a cup of tea, actually, because I like my cups of tea, mate. So thank you very much. He's made a thing there. So I appreciate that. When I go to the game, I'll have a cup of tea on you. Much appreciated. Right, now we're going to be bringing on 4 more fans. First up, onto the screen, it is the legend himself, Wolves Premier, Lord Jason guy. Hi, Jason.
How are you, Dave? You all right? It's very interesting as well, that first half of the show. And listen, Kev's been getting some grief on Twitter. It's so good to see him make his debut, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant.
He was, mate, and I saw that, and that's why I invited him on, because there are you've had abuse on there, I've had abuse, Manny's on there. There's loads of people and it does affect one's mental health. And Kev, he's had a lot happen in his life. He howls for the Wolves and stuff like that, and this is a nice community, and I just wanted him to make him feel, that there's people out there that
What you got to remember with Kev is he only does things positively. He only does things to make other people smile. He only does things, just to create a good atmosphere. And listen, people have, like Manny said, people have got all different opinions on people who they've never even met. Kev's one of the good guys, and I thought he spoke some real sense as well. He made some really interesting points. In fact, all the good points I was going to make, Kev's already made, so I don't think you need it now.
Well, absolutely. Well, before we can move on, I just want to say a big welcome to Tom Roden, who's just taken up to support the channel, has taken up membership, which is fantastic. We've got a massive community. We've got a Discord group. We chat every single day. You get custom emojis and all sorts of other things. So, Tom, great to have your thing. I will put the link on the community tab for the Discord group after this for you to get on, and then get on and enjoy and introduce yourself. And as you say, there's loads of people already welcoming you as a member. If you are interested in being a member, just hit the join button. So next up, we're going to be bringing on Paul Mansell. How you doing, sir?
I'm very well, thanks, and good evening to everyone that's tuned in.
Absolutely. And Paul, has got his shiny new haircut today, looking very sharp, mate, can I say?
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to the trip next weekend, because I'm going up with me, the producer Emma, Paul, his dad. We're all going up to Newcastle away. We're going up on the Saturday. Paul's got an itinerary planned for us, so we'll get into in a minute. But I'm looking forward to that weekend away with you, mate.
Likewise.
And then we've got Josh. How you doing, Josh?
Well, good. How are you?
You in a good mood?
Yeah, good day today. Watching the football and the Formula One and everything. So,
who do you support in the Formula One, Josh?
So, driver-wise, it's always like the British lads.
Hamilton,
like George Russell, Lando Norris.
He's a Wolves fan, isn't he, Russell? Yeah,
well, his dad is, yeah. So I know he came on the pitch a few years back, and I like to see the Ferrari boys do well, just to try and push Red Bull and that this year, because I think they'll run away with it. And I think Ferrari will be the team that should be coming up close enough to them. Just hope they don't have the engine failures like they did last year.
Well, it's true. And then last up, we're going to go for a full-on 5 on the screen. We've got Jack. How you doing, mate? The voice of reason.
Doing my best tonight. Evening, everyone. We all okay?
All good.
How are you feeling, Jack?
Very positive. Very, very positive.
It smiles all around, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It really, really is. I mean, it's great to actually I mean, I was hoping we didn't lose, because it would have been Bournemouth, Liverpool and stuff, doom and gloom. We wanted to get away from that doom and gloom, but we've got a real great second half of the show lined up for you today. We're going to be getting stuck into that. Jason, just before we get stuck into it, though, I do want to bring people's attention to the Wolf Whistle Brew and the event that's taking place. So I just wanted if you could just tell people a little bit more about that again.
Yeah, event takes place on Wednesday the 8th of March. The Green Duck Brewery approached us to celebrate the podcast achieving 100,000 downloads, Dave. I mean, to you, that's absolutely minuscule. But yeah, you get that for one episode. But the podcast received 100,000 downloads, and they've approached us to, they've basically done a new brew, Wet Your Wolf Whistle, a 4% session IPA. So we've got a launch night on this Wednesday, March the 8th, at the Green Duck Brewery in Stourbridge. Got ex-Wolves players there. We've got, I think, 9 ex-Wolves players there. Robbie Dennison, Mo Kamara, Mel Eves, Colin Taylor, Dale Rudge. We've got some great names there who've had over 1,000 appearances. in the old gold and black. So it's going to be a good night, raising money for the 1P36 Family Trust.
Absolutely brilliant. So make sure that you, if you fancy that, you like your brew and your beer, get down there as well. You'll see some Wolves legends as well. Paul, let's get stuck in. Let's get stuck into the to this week. Obviously, the Bournemouth defeat, the Liverpool result, and how that's backed up into the Tottenham game yesterday. I know you were there with your girls again. What are the points that you'd like to make out of that?
I think I always fancied us to win one of these matches somewhere along the line. Obviously disappointed with how the game ended on Wednesday, especially that second half performance, very limp. And if I'm being really honest as well, I was disappointed with how we started the game yesterday. I was expecting us to come out of the blocks really quick, like a Ferrari, because we've had a couple of bad results. And like we did against Liverpool, we hit them early, didn't we? But in hindsight, obviously, is that part of the plan? Be interesting to see what everyone else thinks. Was it part of the plan yesterday that we couldn't have a 90-minute full throttle performance, soak up a bit of pressure, get to half times, at 0-0, because we had no chance of scoring, did we, in the first half? And then go for it in the second half. I think it was a deliberate ploy, not something that was just decided at half time, but before the game. And you could see there was like a switch in the intensity in the second half. If you watch the highlights on Match of the Day, it's the Cunha chance, actually. If you watch the way that Neves sprints to close down, I think that was symptomatic of the second half performance in terms of the change in intensity. Moutinho obviously contributed as well with that, Jimenez. So, to get 3 points off Liverpool and Tottenham combined is an excellent week overall.
Absolutely. And I've just got to come back to here because we've got a question from Carl Whitehouse. Is there a secret word? Of course there's a secret word. There's this new thing. There is a secret word that all of the pundits, I give them before they go on. I send them the message and I say, you've got to try and get this into the chat. And it is 2-1 to the pundits. But we ask you at the end what you think the word is, but don't say it until the end because we've got to see whether all the pundits can get it into the conversation. So there is. Paul, mate, I always love, seriously, how you analyse things and contextualise things because you make some fantastic points. Josh, on to you now. I mean, you heard what Paul's had to say about that. What points that you'd like to make?
So first off, I know they had their chances off the posts. I don't think they're apart from those two chances. I don't think they really troubled us much. I thought we moved the ball well, but there was the odd chance where Núñez lost it. But I thought he won it back. When he lost it, he won it back quite a lot. But he shouldn't be losing it in the first place. And then, like the guy said earlier, my brother who spotted it, after about 25 minutes, you could see Lamina slotting back in. He had a word with Dawson, and my brother said how he went, and then as if to say, back five, do you want to come in or shall I go out? And Lamina moved into that, what we used to call the Conor Cody role.
Yeah.
But he was just niggling. He'd been told from the off, man mark Harry Kane. Because Harry Kane comes back in deep to get the ball, which is where Lamina is, and he just kept on niggling him. And it worked. That first half, we kept him quiet. And I think we did the same second half. I think Collins and Dawson, between the pair of them, when we were in the back five in the second half, kept pushing at him. I don't think he liked it because every tackle made on him, even when we got the ball, he was straight up at the ref. Second half was definitely better than the first. But a good performance, I think, all in all, to get the 1-0. I mean, losing to Liverpool midweek was a bit disappointing, but after Spurs lost in the cup, I thought we've got a chance here to do something. I took the draw, plus I had it on my Super 6 as 1-1. So yeah, but I'm more than happy that we get the result than me having the points on the Super 6.
Mate, I'll tell you what. I mean, there's a few games, haven't we? The Southampton game, we'd have probably took the point. We got the extra 2. Fulham before the match, we'd have taken the point, but we were disappointed we didn't get the 3 in the end. The Tottenham game, 1-0. Maybe a point. We got the 3. So we've got points. We lost the 3 against Bournemouth, although an extra point against Bournemouth, but we kind of made them back, winning the Liverpool game. But that's the roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
That's the journey that we're on.
Yeah,
But
I mean, that sort of stuff as well, like on about the roller coaster ride. And I see Jason on about it on Twitter and getting the rest of the guys, because there's some of the guys on Twitter, and Jason answers them back brilliantly. As soon as we lose, lost to Liverpool on Wednesday night.
Jason is a secret fisherman.
It's hilarious. I love reading his
He gets
tweets,
his
man.
little bait and he's talking.
The amount of people
No comment.
And it's just the moan has come out in force, and it's like Jason's grabbing him by the scruff of the neck and just going. Shh.
Flipping heck, they love me.
He just reels them in, don't you, mate? Jack, you've heard obviously what Paul and Josh have had to say about the game and stuff like that. Obviously, you were there. I think you was at Liverpool as well. Did you manage to get there in the end?
Not in the end, no. I had to give that one a miss. So, but managed to see most of it on the stream. So,
you managed to get a stream and watch it. So you've sort of like seen the Liverpool game. We obviously we talked about Bournemouth last week, and then we didn't have a shot on target for like over 90 plus minutes, and then you've got the second half. I mean, what are the takeouts that you'd like to make? Points you'd make from those games?
Well, Paul, who I sit next to, not this Paul, another Paul. He lives in Stockport. Every home game he's there. He said it's a game of two halves. I thought first half, I'm going to be really honest, I thought we were terrible. I thought we were really, really poor first half. I thought there's no sort of energy, there's no aggression. I thought we let Tottenham's wing backs completely run the game, Porro and Perisic, who I think actually are really good players.
Yeah.
But you can't let wing backs run a game. They've got Harry Kane on the pitch. If Harry Kane runs the game, okay, because he's a world-class player, if Son does it. But you can't let the wing backs dictate the game and decide the tempo and I thought we were really, really passive. I thought Lopetegui's substitutions and his tactical changes and his personnel switches won us that game. Above anything else, it was that won us that game, because Lamina was doing a brilliant job man-marking Harry Kane in the first half. But what it meant was we literally had 2 in midfield then with Neves and Nunes. And Nunes doesn't like tracking back. He doesn't like getting stuck in when it really counts. He's more of a floater, isn't he? Sort of gets in and around when the ball comes loose. So Neves was doing it on his own, basically, trying to sort of hold back the tide. And they were coming. So he said, "I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll bring on an extra centre-half, and then the 3 of them between them can deal with Kane. Because he might get the best of 1 centre-half. He's probably good enough to get the better of 2, but he's not doing it against 3. So that frees up a midfielder then to go and have possession and to get us going forward. But Lamina and Neves, are defensive midfielders. So I'm not going to have both on the pitch at the same time, because that's, again, with 3 centre-halves, 2 wing-backs and 2 defensive mids. That's 7 defenders. So we've only got 3 players going forward then. So I'm going to leave Nunes on because he's a bit more attacking. Now, I don't think it worked particularly because he wasn't great. But that's the kind of level of depth of thinking that this manager's got. I always think with managers, you could have, it's a bit like this. If you've got a Lamborghini, a Porsche, Ferrari, but you give the keys to Mr. Bean, he's going to wrap it around a lamppost within half an hour, isn't he? Whatever the tools are, the equipment you've got to have the right person in charge of it to get the best out of it. And that's what we've got now. We've got a manager that knows this squad inside out, and he's only been there, 2 months, just over 2 months. But he can tweak a game tactically with the players he's got and completely turn a game on its head. Like I said, that first half, we were dreadful. Second half, we were by far the better team. And this is a team we're playing against, don't forget. We're 4th in the table. And I know people talk about Tottenham, Spurs, all this, that, and the other. They're a really good side. They are a really good side with quality players throughout it. And we made them look ordinary second half. We had chances to score. I mean, I thought Raul was really unlucky with that run. I was expecting them to get the pencil and ruler out with the VAR to check the offside, but sitting back, yeah. But that's the difference that a manager makes. He can look at a game and go, "It's not working, so I'm going to change this. I'm going to change that. I'm going to bring him here, put him here. We're going to do this, and we're going to win the game." And that's exactly what we did. It was brilliant to watch. Just from that point of view of a manager going, "I'm not happy with how this is going, so I'm going to change it, and we're going to win this game." And we sort of did.
Mate, I'll tell you what, I love Jack because you articulate things again really, really well, and you are very much in terms of like getting into the mind. I said like you'd be a great manager yourself, like managing the football team. I really think you would be. I mean, to make some really good analysis on that as well, mate. So thank you for that, Jason. You've heard what Paul, Joss, and Jack have had to say on their points. That made some brilliant analysis, I have to say. What's your points?
I want to say thank you, Dave, for bringing me on last and having all these great pundits on and making all the points. And I've literally got nothing to add to that, apart from, listen, let's be honest, Jack's quite right. It was a game of two halves. We did ride our luck throughout the game, especially the first half. The frustrating thing for me was, especially if you come from the Liverpool game when, I don't think we had a shot on goal. We only had 8 shots to Spurs 21 over the game. And when you've got statistics like that, it is hard to obviously scrape out a win. And at half-time, we're 0-0. We've still got something to play for. But when we looked at the team to start with, you look at Costa, why did he play over Raul? You look at Johnny. You know what? It was I was thinking, flipping out, what's brought Johnny back in for? But look, he got it right. He made some, what the changes that he made were obviously, inspirational to the outcome of the game. It was a massive call to take Lamina off. When he took Lamina off, I thought, what? I couldn't believe it.
Mate, I was exactly the same. But like when you actually as it's been explained back to us, because he was playing so deep. I think what Paul mentioned, he thought he was playing that deep. You might as well play like the.
Well, absolutely. But he's effective playing there, Dave, and that it's all right thinking. Whoever, and I said this, I think it was the Bournemouth game, whoever scores first wins the game. And it was exactly the same yesterday. Whoever scored first won the game. So playing Lamina in the first half, playing Johnny more defensively, laying 4 at the back, was probably, a masterstroke on itself going into half-time 0-0. Because if we'd gone into half-time 1-0 down, are we going to win that game 2-1 when we don't score goals? No, we're not. Now, taking Lamina off for me, I was like, wow, that is a big, big call. And it's these big calls that Lopetegui's making, which are obviously giving us the outcome and the points that we're getting. Listen, Raul deserved a goal. Raul, for me, was probably the best I've seen him since his injury yesterday. He really worked hard. That video you put on, Dave, him tracking back, I remember that, tracking back for that. And listen, strikers don't normally do that, and he come right back for that. So his all-round game's a lot better. If you look at the goal, it come into him, and in basically 2 touches, he gets his shot off, and that's one thing we have been missing. Gets his shot off, obviously the rebound goes out, and Traore scores. So effectively, you could say Raul's made that goal. But for me, Raul was incredible. I didn't want to see Costa getting injured. For me, Costa, I desperately want to see him scoring a Wolves shirt, but each game that goes by, it looks increasingly likely that it's not going to happen.
I have a solution for you, though, Jason, on Costa, because you're wanting to see him score in a Wolves shirt. We can get him in the All-Stars.
Well, he probably wouldn't score in that. He's got to get Colin Taylor out the team first. But, listen, we rode out throughout the game. Spurs hit the woodwork twice. It could have gone either way. But as soon as we scored, listen, once again, Lopetegui changed it then. It was a bit frustrating towards the end because I thought Traore had a very good game. But there was one point when, towards the end, they're screaming for him to take it into the corner.
And he's instinctively wants to cross it.
Yeah. And then he, I think we lost possession, and then all of a sudden, they're on the counter attack, and that's when they're very dangerous. We know what Harry Kane's like. He got some stick off the Wolves fans, but part of the reason he gets stick is because he's an incredible player. And if you think about it as well, we made 5 substitutes. Yes, the Raul one probably wasn't going to always happen to it, but we made 5 substitutes, so it's almost like we got a 48% different side out on the end of the pitch, at the end of the game, to what we did at the start of the game. And I just thought Lopetegui managed the game brilliantly, and we was good for the win yesterday.
Absolutely was, and I think you're right. I think the change Costa to Raul would probably have happened, but probably not until around the 55, 60 minutes, because the way I thought he'd start Costa yesterday, and the reason for that is that Raul's played a lot of the game, 80 minutes on Wednesday night, and then he'd switch him over because of the fit.
Costa gets in their faces as well, and he's difficult to play against, and especially at home. You want to get the fans on your side straight away, and he does get in their faces. But listen, we don't want to see players get injured. He's not yes, he had a great game against Southampton away, but it's 14 games now. He hasn't really been, playing out of his skin. Sometimes you look at it and it's like having 10 players out there, and that's a big call to make from me because I do like Costa, but sometimes he's a bit of a passenger. I don't understand the criticism that Núñez gets, because I think Núñez is a great player. He's almost like a luxury player. Maybe he's too good for the Wolves. Maybe he's better in a top half, a top 6 team. I really do. I think Núñez is a great player. I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism. But, you look at the team and you look at the players who are in the midfield. It's difficult. There is players that you choose ahead of him. But I do think it's unfair, the criticism that he gets.
Well, coming on to the Núñez thing, I mean, he's undoubtedly talented. I mean, was it Pep that said he was going to be one of the best midfielders in the world? I think the issue, the frustration with Núñez is that he's had 5 or 6, 7 scoring opportunities and missed them all.
Yeah.
He at times he can turn on a sixpence and create space out of nowhere, and he can drive in. But these are flashes of what we think he could be. And they paid £45 million for this guy. And he was like, on the Liverpool game, he was falling over, slipping over all the time. He was falling over.
It is frustrating now because you've got players like Pedence, Traore, Núñez, although they're all very different players. But sometimes you don't know what you're going to get out of them when they get on the pitch. You don't get 100% out of them for 90 minutes. And this is the difficult thing. And that's why some of these players are luxury players. And that's why you can't have 2 or 3 of these players in the side at any one time. That's the frustration. But Lamina,
I think Núñez will probably come good. And I know there's a few people that got very strong views on him, like he should be dropped, this, that, and the other. And, there's an argument for that. But, what I was heartened to see, even though he didn't have the best game, he walked around the side of the pitch, and the majority of the fans that I saw were clapping him, because at the end of the day, if his confidence is low, the last thing you want to do is lambast him when he's coming off. You need to give him encouragement, and he's still a player, he's still a human being, and I think that would have been good for him, that he come off there, and and hopefully he will come good for him. We saw, with Den Donker and stuff like that, didn't start for 6 months and couldn't get into the team.
Still a fairly raw talent, isn't he, really?
Of course he is. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And you know what? When they come with a fee like that, the Wolves fans automatically do put them under pressure. And they're more likely going to become a scapegoat when they've got a massive transfer fee around their neck, which is happening in Núñez's case. Sarabia's getting a bit of grief as well. Chaotic Rage, I need to sit down with Jason. You're welcome anytime. Listen, I am a glass half full person. I do see things positively. So Núñez just a 50 million luxury then. Well, easy.
Good points. I mean, this is what it's all about, the debates and stuff like that. The one thing that I want to come back onto this, and I want to bring this to Paul, because I'm really interested to see all the other pundits' views on Núñez, because I think you brought that up well, Jason, and the points that you make are absolutely right in a lot of the respects of what you've said about Núñez. But also, Pedence was dropped, not just to the bench, he was dropped out of the team. Paul, on Núñez, what are your thoughts on that? And Lopetegui said Pedence had been dropped for tactical reasons. What do you read into that?
I think with Núñez, I'm not sure exactly what his best position is still yet. That's one thing that I'm scratching my head with. I think some of the stick he's been getting is probably a bit unwarranted, but perhaps it is time for him to sit a couple of games out. That can sometimes give you a fresh sense of perspective as a player. We have got options now in that position, haven't we, in the middle of midfield? João Gomez has just been called up for Brazil, but he didn't even get on the pitch, did he, at the weekend? So perhaps he just needs to have a couple of games out and then bring him back in. Neves he's got a suspension coming up, hasn't he? Because he's on 9 bookings.
One more with yellow. He's out for 2 games.
So is that going to open an opportunity for him? So I think for me, I still don't know exactly what his best position is, but I think his best attribute is carrying us up the pitch with the ball at his feet. He's got a change of gear that no other midfielder's got. His dribbling skills are good. And I think people are just getting on his back a bit because of his kind of like stats. No goals, maybe 1 or 2 assists. So I think overall, I wouldn't be surprised if he was left out on Sunday at Newcastle. But it wouldn't be like in any form of disgrace. He's not dropped for being useless, but maybe just have a bit of a break, bit of a freshen up. As for Podence, you can only assume it's the writing's on the wall, isn't it? When a manager says left out for tactical reasons when he's clearly not injured. He could have just lied, couldn't he, Lopetegui, and said, yeah, he's got a knock. So it's interesting that he didn't lie about it, first of all, that he said it's for tactical reasons. And he's our joint top goal scorer. So I think if I was speculating, I reckon Podence has said, I'm not happy about not starting. And, you know, perhaps that's led to a bit of a disagreement. And Lopetegui's shown him who's boss. But I hope whatever's gone on, they can put the differences to one side and we can get the best out of him because...
You know something, don't you, Paul? You know something that we don't.
No, but he used that phrase with Guedes, didn't he? Left him out for tactical reasons. And
that's why I bring it up.
Look what happened to him.
Yeah, this is exactly why I bring it up because Podence, he has been good. He hasn't been, you know, he did all the fancy backflips and kicks again. He loves all that sort of stuff. And when they pay off, they're great. When they don't, they're looked at. But he has created goals for us. But the other thing about Daniel Podence, I mean, you know, my dad loves him, Bonanza. He has got a fuse, Podence. Yeah, he has got a real fuse because we've seen it. Him getting stuck in on 2 pre-season games when he started a brawl
and at Christmas. And at Christmas, he took a swing at someone in Spain, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And this is
grabbed him by the throat as the player stepped back. He threw a punch at him.
Exactly. So he has got a fuse, Podence has, and I'm just wondering whether he's gone off on one, which is why I'm bringing it up. Josh, on to you. The same question: Nunes and Podence. Your readings on both of those.
I'm not too worried about Nunes' performances. I know a lot of people are picking it up, and I think it's because of, like Jason says, it's to do with the price tag, because exactly the same happened with Fabio. People lambasted him from the off because they're expecting a polished player, which at 18-year-old, he's not going to be easy, let's be honest. He's going to be growing into his game at that age. Nunes, same sort of thing for me. We've seen glimpses of what he can do, and for me, his best game from when he signed to us going forward, I didn't think we'd seen his best under Bruno until Bruno decided to play him deep against Chelsea.
Yeah.
And you saw him do those runs against Chelsea and you thought, there's a player there. And we've done it a few times since. I think the last few weeks, what's been the problem is, because he's been playing a bit of a left mid recently, hasn't he? I think that's to do with selection on the basis of losing Hwang. Because that game against Liverpool, when he got injured, you had Hwang on the right, Podence on the left. As soon as Hwang got injured, your winger selection's gone right down. Neto's only just come back. We haven't really got any of a... Adama's off the bench, and let's be honest, he's proved it again yesterday. And I think it's a selection point that he's been a bit poor. He's been out on that limb on the left. And that's why I think he put... Was he on the left? Yeah, that's why he put Johnny there as well, because Johnny was cutting in as well yesterday and supporting him. But with Podence, now Paul said that, I didn't really think about it like that, like how he used the tactical word for Guedes. The only thing I thought about was that, and I saw it with the lineup, how he said it was a tactical decision. I thought the lineup was a bit weird yesterday. I wasn't expecting that lineup to look like what it did yesterday. Wasn't expecting Johnny at left back. Midfield 3 did speak for itself, but I didn't expect to see Costa up front and Neto to start. I thought there was a few changes there which were completely off the cuff, which I was leading towards when he said tactical. Was it to do with that? Were they thinking Podence was going to be in the squad? But I can't see a manager turning around to a player saying, "Oh, I'm going to make a tactical change to make them think you are playing, but you're not even going to be in the squad." That just seems a bit weird.
That's exactly what I thought, because Podence is always a player you can bring on and stuff. And I read into the Guedes thing as well. I'm thinking something's gone on there. Jack, do you feel the same on that?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, I think the thing.
Are we reading too much into it?
I don't think we are. I think with Lopetegui, I think he wants players to work hard. I think that's his sort of his thing, isn't it? Minimum expectations, maximum effort, if you want to use that mantra. You can see how sort of, we talk about Traore looking a different player under Lopetegui. It's because he's working harder. You look at Semedo, looks a different player under Lopetegui because he's working harder. He's making more runs. He's using his athleticism a bit more. I just don't think Podence works hard enough sometimes. And I think he's a really good footballer. And I think he's in some situations, in some games, we've talked about it before, he's the perfect player to bring on because he finds little pockets of space and he's difficult to mark. And he gets a shot away when you perhaps don't expect him to. He scores from all kinds of strange angles, doesn't he? But I just don't think he works hard enough sometimes, particularly tracking back and different bits and pieces. And I don't know whether Lopetegui's looking and thinking, if going forward, because there's a bigger picture here, isn't there? Because I don't think Lopetegui's coming to keep us up this year and then he's going to go off somewhere else. I think he wants to be here for a few years and build something. And he's probably looking and thinking, is Podence the kind of player that I'm going to build my forward line around? Or is it more likely to be a Sarabia, a Kuna, a Neto, those kind of players? And I just think that's perhaps what he's looking at. He's perhaps leaving Podence out and thinking, can we function without him? Because he needs to see that, doesn't he? I think if all, touch wood, all going well, towards the end of the season, we've got 2 or 3 games at the end where we're not really playing for anything. I think that's what he'll start doing. He'll start leaving people out and kind of going, can we function as a team without this person? Do we look better with that person in there? Or do we still need that person there? Do we need that type of player? And that kind of brings me on to Núñez a little bit. Midfield is all about balance. You've got to have a balance in midfield. The best example I can give you, the England team in the early to mid-2000s, Gerrard and Lampard, 2 of the best midfielders in Europe at the time, in the world perhaps, couldn't play together because they were too similar. And I think in the midfield, you've got to have players that will do everything and cover every base. And I think with Núñez, he's got a very specific role in terms of what Paul said, carrying that ball. He's a wonderful player to watch when he's in possession. He sort of glides past players. He can turn on a sixpence and spin the ball out. His accuracy with his passing needs to improve, obviously. And I think what Jason said, he's spot on. I think in a better team, he'd look fantastic. But because we're scrapping for our lives at the minute and every point is precious, you need players like Lamina, who's going to work his nads off every single game and challenge and track back and win tackles, win headers. And because Núñez, that's not his game, I think fans are looking at it and going, he's not working hard. Like we've just said with Prince, he's not working hard enough. He's not what we want. That doesn't make him a bad player. Gerrard and Lampard weren't bad players. They just couldn't function together in the same midfield. Núñez is a fantastic player. You can see that from his performances. But at the minute, he's not doing what the fans perceive him needing to do. We need midfielders that are going to work tirelessly and track back and win tackles, headers, like Lamina did on Kane yesterday, the man marking. Núñez could never do that. But that doesn't make him a bad player. It just makes him a different type of player. And there'll be some games between now and the end of the season where Núñez will be our best player, because we'll need someone in that midfield who can carry the ball from our defensive third to the final third and do it in 5 seconds. And he's the only one in the midfield that can do that. Neves can't carry the ball like that. That's why he's passing. He's so good. He can't run with the ball. Lamina can't do it either. João Gomez, I don't think he's that type of player either. So there'll be games where Núñez is going to be our best player and our most important player. But at the minute, he's not at the minute. It's Lamina that's the key one in midfield because of what he's bringing to the team. So I think we've got to be a little bit patient with Núñez and kind of go, okay, he's learning, he's adapting to the country. It's a new environment. He probably, when he signed for us in way back in August, he wasn't expecting a relegation battle. Let's be honest. I don't think any of us were. With the investment we had with Guedes and Núñez and Collins coming in and Kalajic and all those, we finished 10th last year. You're thinking, okay, we're going to top off, maybe pushing for Europe. We weren't expecting to be scrapping for our lives, were we? And so I don't think the players were either. So it's an environment he wasn't probably expecting. So let's be a bit patient with him. Let's not write him off. We're very, very quick as a fan base, and all fan bases are, to write players off and go, oh, he's had crap 4 games. Let's sell him in the summer to Stoke. Let's not do that. Let's just, see what he can do. Perhaps next year in a team that's a bit more forward thinking, a bit more of a solid base. And, and again, I think we've seen glimpses under Lopetegui of what he can do. It's just, obviously, he's not that player that we want him to be right at the minute.
Jack, absolutely brilliant. And I think what you've done is basically highlight the point as well that Jason was making earlier. I know there's
but he's done it a lot better and more eloquent than me.
Thanks, Jack. There's Chris in the chat who I'm sure he'll come on when he comes on sometimes and talks. He's really, like here he is. He's like, I'll send him back for 20 million. Chris, you can come on and debate this at some point because I think it's interesting. That's why we're talking about like different opinions. Your view on Prudence, Jason?
Listen, once again, I think he's a really good player. I think he's very skillful. But once again, he just doesn't do it enough for me. He doesn't. We've seen the glimpses of magic when he beats players, when he can get his shot off. He's a special player. And once again, I'll probably keep saying it. These players are sometimes, they are luxury players and better in better teams. And it's difficult when we're in a relegation battle and we haven't got the ball as much and we're defending more. And it's difficult for these players, to get into the play and play the game that they can play. But for me, I think he's a very good player. I just think right now we probably need different types of players.
No, absolutely, mate. And that's really good analysis. We should give a mention. I think it's been brought up. Johnny Otto and Collins came on and both I didn't let the side down at all yesterday. Paul, we're going to go to you first for moment or highlight of the day, man of the match and performance rating. Really intrigued to see what you say on this one.
My moment of the day was when the final whistle went and watching the staff and the players celebrate together on the pitch. You can tell it really means a lot to them. It's not like just doing it for the fans. It's a genuine outpouring of emotion and relief, I think. So seeing that at the end of the game, I agree that I'd give it a 7 overall. I mean, if you're judging it at half-time, there's no way to get anywhere near that. But 7. I mean, this is a Champions League team. They're playing AC Milan next. So our second half performance would be higher than 7, I believe.
Yes.
But 7 overall. Man of the match, there's a few contenders, but I think someone posted actually in the chat earlier a real captain's performance in the second half, and I completely agree. I think he was outstanding in the second half, Ruben. His passing, goal threat, his pressing, his influence he was having on other players around him. So for that reason, I would give him man of the match.
Well summed up, mate. Absolutely brilliant. I gave Neves man of the match after the game yesterday, and I've had time to reflect, which so I'll come back with mine again at the end. Josh, same question to you. Highlight moment of the day, man of the match, performance rating for everyone.
Moment of the day for me. There was the one chance down the safe bank. Adama had come to the near enough corner flag, pops it in straight onto Jimenez's head. Foster had to make that. It looked like a routine save in the end, but it was just that. What's the word? Like memory of what that used to be with Empire. The ball would just go in. It was exactly like what it used to be. Slap bang into the middle. Jimenez had run off the back post into the middle and bang. That was my moment of the day. Just to bring back the nostalgia was the word. That's it. That was my moment today. Just to see a ball like that between them two again. Because I think
it was a great header as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the keeper made a good save actually off the back of that. He headed it down. Probably headed it 2 down. If he'd have headed it a little thing, it probably would have gone under the keeper. Yeah.
Match rating is 7. I think I wasn't expecting a win. If I'm being honest, I was expecting that at least took a draw. So 7 for me is about right. I think the first half it was hit and miss. The second half we come out as a different team altogether. Formation changed. Collins, and I said this to my brother yesterday. It shows what having experience next to 2 kids either side of him does to a back 3.
Yeah.
Because Collins yesterday looked a completely different player to what we've seen the first half of the season. I thought he looked good when Lopetegui first come in before Dawson came in as well. But yesterday, with Dawson next to him, same as Kilman has done the last few weeks, he looked brilliant. So performance-wise, with players coming on and the way they played, I'd say a 7. But my man of the match for me, I'm going to go off the cuff here because I don't think anybody's mentioned it. I think it's the best game he's had at us in a long time since his second knee injury, Johnny.
Yeah,
I thought he played brilliantly yesterday. I thought it was the perfect game for him. Defensively, we needed him. And it was coming to a point when it was still 0-0 yesterday where me and my brother said, you could probably do without an area down that left-hand side to push on. And within seconds of us saying that, we scored and we turned around and said, no, keep Johnny on, see the game out now. and he did it perfectly for me.
That's a good shout, actually, Josh. Really, really good point. So finally, over to Jack. Let's see what you have to say on these points.
Performance rating, I want to go 7.5. I actually really enjoyed the game. I thought it was a really good game of football. Tottenham played their part first half and in the second half as well, to be fair. Obviously, we've said the first half we were poor, but we really recovered. It was a really good game to watch. So I'm going to go 7.5. I'm going to be sort of on the generous side. My man of the match is Craig Dawson for two reasons. Number one, his defending was outstanding. There was one where he sort of wore the block, if you like. They smashed the ball at him and just hit him on the chest and went out for a corner. And he just sort of shook it off as if there was nothing. He watched the Liverpool Man United game earlier, and Bruno Fernandes is getting tickled on the belly button and going down holding his face like he's been shot. Dawson gets smashed by a ball and just goes, yeah, that's nothing. That's leadership and that's character and everything. But the other reason why I think Dawson is so important, he's made Kilman look twice the player he was earlier in the season. The improvement in Kilman since Dawson's been alongside him has been phenomenal. And that's credit to Max as much as anything. But, we saw it with Cody last year. I mentioned the C word, I know. But, Cody next to Kilman was really important. I know, Jason, yeah. But you can see it with Dawson now. He needs that voice alongside him, doesn't he, I think? I'm going to die on the hill of Nathan Collins. I think he's a fantastic centre-half. But he's not that leader. He's not that voice yet. I think Dawson is, and I think he's bringing the best out of Kilman. He's contributing to that back four. That clean sheet is massive yesterday. Absolutely huge. Lopetegui even said it in his post-match interview. We had it on the radio on the way home. He said, clean sheet, clean sheet. Don't care who scored, don't care this. Clean sheet. And I think that's kind of, again, we talk about that. Build that solid foundation. If you keep a clean sheet, you're not going to lose that game. Don't matter what happens. If you keep a clean sheet, you're not going to lose that game. And I think that's what we need to be going for, looking forward. I think that's why Dawson is such an important player for us at the minute, because he's going to get us those clean sheets. Moment of the day, some similar line to Josh, actually. There was a chance we had right at the start of the second half, and it was Neves into Johnny, down the line for Raul, and he sort of fired the cross across, and Semedo just missed it.
Oh, that was a great goal.
Yeah, the reason that's moment of the day, because the whole crowd kind of went, we're in this game now. We've just been battered for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
We've just been battered for 45 minutes by these. We're quite lucky it's 0-0. But we can get at these now. We're in this game. We can win this. And you just felt the whole crowd kind of went, okay, let's have it. We're in it now. Let's go for it. And I think that moment, coupled with the Neves long-range shots that tested the goalkeeper, that helped as well. But you could just sense in the crowd, as the second half went on, more and more people believing and going, yeah, we're going to win this. We can win this. We get a goal here. We're going to win this game. And I think that moment where we just sort of played some football, one touch, in we go, sharp passing, and everyone kind of went, okay, yeah, we've got this now. So that was my moment of the day, because I think it just changed the momentum in the crowd as much as anything.
Mate, absolutely brilliant point as well. Jason, over to you, mate.
Moment of the match for me was after the goal that Adama scored. You run up to the bench and, everyone, even all the substitutes, just really felt a part of it. And Lamina, and I said, Lamina, that was a strange decision at half-time. And quite rightly, yes, Lopetegui would have explained why he's made the decision. But, he was having a really, really good game. So he'd have been generally, disappointed. So for Adama and all the players to be together, the subs and that, I thought that was a fantastic moment. Man of the match for me, Raul Jimenez. I just thought, as soon as he come on for Costa, you could just see he wanted to be in the game right from the off. He deserved a goal. Sadly, he didn't get it. But, he created that goal. Like I said, he got the shot off. And then, obviously, it went to Traore. Rating, 7.5 out of 10. It's difficult to after the first half performance, it's difficult to give out 8 out of 10s. But I think we did well to get back into the game. We did well to be 0-0 at half-time, to be fair. It wasn't all doom and gloom in the first half. But I think for me, 7.5 out of 10. In the end, good performance, and we, deserve the 3 points.
Absolutely, mate. And I gave Neves my man of the match yesterday, and I based that off his overall performance. I based it off the shots, and I also based it off that I thought it was him from the North Bank end that had hit the shot that had been parried out to Traore to knock it in the back of the onion bag to win it. But finding out that it was Jimenez that hit the shot for the deflection, and obviously the tracking back and stuff like that, and the things. A day later, because I gave Jimenez as the silver medal yesterday, I'd probably flip that round and I'd probably go with Jimenez just for that one reason, because I thought it was Neves that hit the shot that was parried out. So I'd probably go with, I would have gone with probably Jimenez as well on the basis of that, because he had his best game. And I tell you what, I put that clip out, as you said, on Twitter.
That tackle.
The tackle. Because as with many people said, his heart's not in it. He doesn't want to be here anymore. He's not the same old role. He doesn't want to put it in where it hurts. You know, this is a guy that was fighting for the badge. He's our number 9, and he was seeing that overlap, and he could have just sat there and let it go by. It's not my job. But he went down there and he made that tackle, and he stopped that cross from coming into the box. And, you know, it stopped an attack, and we regrouped and set. And, you know, he got the header in, he had the shot, he was busy. I'm heartened, really heartened by that from Raul. And if he's now fully fit again, and his confidence and his desires there and stuff like that, the goals are going to follow. The goals are going to come. He'll probably go on a streak of scoring 3 or 4 games in a row. He just needs one to go in, and I think he'll be off and running. So that's who I'll go with. So fantastic. I think the pundits man of the match from tonight is definitely overall Raul, but Dawson, good shout. Paul Neves, again, like you say, Johnny Otto. Someone said in the chat, it's good that it's been spread around because there's so many good performances. Nobody from the team really let us down. There's a lot of decent performances. We just need to bring on now, in a second, the wheel. Before we get onto that, I just want to basically make people aware that we do have a fantastic website, alwayswolves.co.uk, where there's loads going on every single match. And we have a team of writers that write. We've got like the preview, we've got the match reaction, we've got the things learned, the report, the player ratings. The report was the things learned was really, really good. Lopetegui, low-key reinventing football, Back to the Future, Moutinho is a sub, Adama the best substitute in the world, Jose Sarr winning points, C Senor. These are great articles, and I would recommend that you bookmark alwayswolves.co.uk and make sure that you check those out when they come on, because they are fantastic articles and worth a read. And one thing that we haven't shouted out, we should give a little bit of a mention to, should we not, to Jose Sarr since the Manchester City game, when he basically passed the ball. He's been fantastic. And how many important saves did he make yesterday?
I think it's on the back of having a self-assured defenders in front of him again now. I think having Dawson in front of him is giving more trust. I really do.
Yeah, really absolutely. And he's also got Dan Bentley breathing down his neck now as well. That's not helping.
Yeah, proper competition. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been good. His distribution generally has been good as well. He's been a lot calmer on the ball. He hasn't panicked, and he's made a few. He made that one good save, that did the fingertip save early in the second 50 minutes. He got his fingertip to that and tipped it round. That was going in bottom corner, right just inside, had he not? So we haven't mentioned him, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Right, let's get onto the wheel then to finish the show, and let's see what we get today. Here we go. Before, so I'm going to move on. God. We've done the dinner guest. We'll move on. You've all had those. We've done that one as well, so we're going to move on again. I don't know. I'm going to give you a fresh one.
It's a good question, Dave.
Okay, we're going to go with one more, and then otherwise I'm going to give up, because I think I really need to update these things. I'm going to make one up. Emma, give me a.
Well, what about the one you did earlier, Dave?
Which one?
the greatest ever sporting achievement? Because
yes, that's a good one. Yeah, we should go with that everyone else did, that we did earlier. What's your greatest? Yeah, that's a good point. That is. I'm sorry about that. I really need to update the questions. What is your greatest ever sporting moment? Who wants to go first?
Oh, go on then. Go on then. Now, I was very fortunate when I was chairman of Jody Credit's testimonial committee to play in his testimonial match. And Mick McCarthy brought me on as a substitute for Sylvan Ebanks-Blake.
I remember that.
Yeah, my life was complete. And then I nutmegged the Sunderland defender, Matt Piper. So I can go to my grave a happy man.
That's really good, man. You're not a bad penalty taker either, Jason.
Oi. Don't get personal, Dave. I'll fall out with you like Manny did.
Who wants to go next?
Go on, I'll go.
Go on, Josh.
Completing the London Marathon in 2018 for me. Never thought I'd ever. Well, I look back at it now, and the way I'm running at the moment, I think, how the hell did I run 26 miles?
You're doing it this time?
Say it again.
We're doing it this year.
We tried. We both, me and my brother, both applied in the ballot, and we didn't get back. But we've both managed to get into the Great North Run in September, which we did 2 years ago. But it was the COVID route, so we did 7 mile out and come back in. So we had to do we had to do the time bridge twice. But this year it'll be straight down to South Shields this time. So I'll be looking forward to that. But yeah, great achievement for me is London Marathon.
Tom, you're absolutely right. We need to get some more questions. We'll try and get some more on for next weekend for you. Brilliant. That one is. Paul, I guess you're going to basically say playing five-a-side football with me on a Tuesday night. And the fact, me and Paul, we play five-a-side on a Tuesday night. Well, Paul can't at the moment for the next 6 weeks because he's doing something with a swimming team at the moment. But play five-a-side on a Tuesday night. And we're unbeaten, mate.
Never lost a game, me and you.
We haven't when we've been
combination.
Completely unbeaten. So that's comfort. Apart from that, Paul, what else?
But the 6-year-olds that you play against, Dave.
Jason, I knew it. He's going to come back with something. Mate, we're playing tomorrow night, actually, if you fancy it.
Flipping out, mate. I'm well out of shape. I can't even get up the stairs.
Tuesday night. There you go.
I'll stick up for Dazzling here.
If anyone plans to play five-a-side football in Stafford on Tuesday, 6 till 7, let me know. Go on, Paul.
I was just sticking up for you, saying that actually you've got some skills. So for anyone who's listening or watching, Dazzling's actually not a bad player.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. I'll give you your money later. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, to answer the question, I won't bore people with the details, but there was quite a big cup final in the local area, Wolverhampton area. I think it was about 2005, and I got the winning goal in the final. So big far post header. So yeah, so that I was good at finding space in the box.
Fox in the box.
Yeah. So when I look back, that was a proud moment for me.
How far from the end of the game was that?
It's about midway through the second half, I think, so we had to hang on a bit. But yeah, it was against a team who hadn't lost a game all season, and we beat them 2-1. Then we had a great night out at Pop World in Wolverhampton.
Oh, right. Now there you go. That would literally finish the old night. I can just imagine you all on the tables there, dancing queen.
Yeah, messy.
Yeah, absolutely. Go on then, Jack.
I shouldn't have gone last because I've got nothing like London Marathon or cup final winning goals or nutmegging Sunderland players. Played a lot of cricket when I was a kid and scored the winning runs in a game. That was quite nice. We were down to the last pair. It was me and number 11 came in. And I'd like to think he was like Ben Stokes at Headingley. I smashed it through the covers before. But I inside edged it onto my pad and ran a quick single and won the game. So it was a glorious moment. So we'll take that. That was kind of quite nice.
Brilliant.
No, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, no, it was a good question. And we will get these questions updated. Thank you in the chat for that. So the final thing, whilst we're just going to go around and get the final word, and we're just about predictions for Newcastle. Guys, we've been slotting in all time the secret word. If you can drop it in the chat, if you think what it is, then we'll tell you at the end. Come on then, Jason. Prediction for Newcastle.
Listen, Newcastle are a decent side, aren't they, at the minute? They seem to be playing really well under Eddie Howe. And like yesterday, we just took a draw. So I think if we get a 1-1 against Newcastle, we've got to be happy with that. If we're winning home games and drawing away, we're going to be really happy with that. So, yeah, I'm going for a draw.
A draw, nice one. Josh?
I'm going to go with a draw as well. I know they're a bit out of form, and a stat I heard on the telly yesterday when they were on the TV against City, they've only scored 3 goals in the league in the turn of the year. So, although they've got that stat of 3 goals since the start of the year in the league, I'm going to still say a draw because it's a bit of that ground's a bit of a wall, I think, of noise. And I still think they can get behind the players they can. So I will take a draw because at the end of the day, look where we are, look where they are. Before any team in that half of the table, you take a point.
Fantastic. Paul?
I predict a few Guinness, a steak, some Malbec.
Yeah, actually, Paul.
Big night out on Saturday with Dazzling Dave.
Let's just rewind because you have got an itinerary planned for us, and I'm really looking forward to this, guys. So just tell everyone the itinerary.
We want to try and make the most of the weekend, so go fairly early Saturday, and then I know a good sports bar in Jesmond, happy hour and things like that, and we'll watch the early kickoff. We've got a steak restaurant booked, so and then that gives pretty much all of Sunday morning before the match.
You've not got us booked into Newcastle Pop World after then.
I'm game.
I'm down. Hey, we'll do it.
Paul, what about the strip club you mentioned?
Yeah, I'm still up for that. I don't know if Dave is.
I'm not sure Emma is.
Producer Emma's saying no.
She's laughing.
But yeah,
that's good.
Prediction-wise, I mean, this fixture's finished 1-1 about 100 times, hasn't it? So,
oh God, it actually has as well. I'd take a 1-1 though.
Apart from the way last year, every other game has been a draw. I mean, a draw earlier on this season, wasn't it?
That's it. And you could argue it was like a bad time to play Liverpool on Wednesday with all the players coming back and then finding a bit of rhythm again. Maybe it's a good time to play Newcastle. And, obviously we'd take a point against a team who's 5th in the league. But I think we're going to win. We've got a good record away from home under Julian. I think it's 2 defeats from 7 games. And I think we've had, is it 3 wins on the road as well?
Yeah.
So
Man City and Liverpool were the 2 we've lost.
Exactly. So if we get the first goal, you can see the Newcastle fans maybe getting a bit restless. They've, as Josh pointed out, they've been very meek in attack recently. So the first goal is so important, but, I don't think it'd be a huge surprise if we did win.
Well, I hope that we can. That would be the mate. You've planned this itinerary, so I'm hoping you've got a win.
Yeah, well, we can give the listeners and the viewers some highlights from the evening, can't we? I'm sure.
Well, we do.
Me and you dancing on the pole at Pop World at 2 a.m, maybe.
Yeah.
Hang on, why don't you do Dazzling Dave and Paul's guide to Newcastle?
Newcastle.
Yeah.
No, Mr. Miami's coming and doing it with us.
What's happened to Mr. Miami?
I was going to say, whatever happened to him?
I forgot about him. That's why Kev's getting all the grief now, because Miami's done one.
We'll do a late night podcast instead.
I think wasn't he employed by the club last season, and he no longer is.
He was doing the YouTube videos before, wasn't
he? TikTok, really, isn't he?
I know, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do Paul and Dave's guide to Newcastle.
Yeah.
Check our Instagram stories. Make sure that you're following Paul Mansell, Dazzling Dave on YouTube, but on Instagram. We put a few on our Instagram stories up. So, what's your Instagram, Paul?
It's at Paul Mansell 10.
There you go, at Paul Mansell 10. We might even put some on the Always Wolves Fan TV Instagram, but my Instagram is there, Dazzling Dave without the G. And we'll put some Instagram stories up for you. And who knows, we might end up in Pop World now. But there you go. Jack, to you.
I predict it's going to be cold. I predict the away end's going to get altitude sickness. I predict anyone watching on telly is going to get more close-ups of Ant and Deck than any of our players.
Yeah.
And I also predict that we're going to come away with something. So that'll be really hang our hats on. But I think the important thing is the 2 games after that, Leeds and Forest. That's where really we can pull clear. If we
Are
can
you going up on the day, Jack? Or you?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
I was going to say you can come and join us at Top World if you're coming up on the Saturday, and you're going to join us in there anyway. Fantastic, guys! It's been an absolutely fantastic show. Just to remind everyone, we're going to count in. We're going to do a count of 3, and then we're all going to say the magic word, the secret word. So 3, 2, 1. Ferrari.
Lamborghini.
So yeah, guys, you've got it. You've equalised. It's 2-2. Some really imaginative ways of getting Ferrari. But Jack, I think yours take the biscuit for the fact that you can imagine the manager having that. That was really quite good as well. But I mean, it was so funny. But yeah, we've gone with Ferrari this week because it's the start of the Formula One season. And I always try and have something in mind to tag into something, and that's why I went with Ferrari, and that started. And I know there's a few of you guys that are mad on your Formula One, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top again this season. But as regards to Wolves have come out on top against Tottenham Hotspur. You know, Traore made sure that he caned Harry's Spurs. And we've come away with the 3 points, and we're up to the dizzy heights of 13th place. And we're looking down and saying to all the other teams, please mind that gap, because we want to keep it like that and grow it a bit more as well. There's a bit of a gap between 12th and 11th, but I mean, I think it was Emma that said it's not looking so bad. Chelsea are 10th, we're 13th.
7 points.
You put it in the context like that, guys. Absolutely brilliant. Jason, quick plug again for your event.
8th of March, Green Duck Brewery in Stourbridge this Wednesday. There's 9 former Wolves players there. We're launching the Wet Your Wolf Whistle beer, raising money for the 1P36 Family Trust. Thank you.
Absolutely, and so check that out, and I hope that goes well for you, buddy, as well. From myself and everyone that's been taking part today, I hope you've enjoyed it. Welcome to our new member. If you've subscribed, thank you so much. If you're watching it back on catch up, leave it in the comment. As always, it will be out on podcast on Monday morning if you're listening to it. I had one guy that messaged me last week or 2 weeks ago over in Australia. He said every Monday he listens to the first half on the way to work and the second half on the way back from work, and it just amazes me. Like what with your podcast, Jason, that you have people all over the world that listen into the shows and watch it. It still amazes me. And he sent an email to say that it's a fantastic, that he looks forward to listening to it every single week. So, guys, thanks for the contributions, and until the next one, from all of us, to you and yours, always Wolves.
Always Wolves.